You're listening to the Betoota Advocate's weekly news wrap on Desert Rock FM 96.5.
Welcome back to the Betoota Advocate Weekly Bulletin, recording live here in the Diamantina, coming to you on either wireless, Spotify, or wherever it is you get these digital radio shows known as podcasts. You're joined by myself, Clancy Overell, editor of the Betoota Advocate, and of course Errol Parker, editor-at-large. How are you, Errol?
I'm all right, mate. I've actually been served a court notice today. You know how I told you last week how I've got this neighbour, right? He's got lots of snakes, and he has this carpet python. Well, he did have this carpet python, and it came under my gate, and it got after one of my cats, and I put a 410 up against his head, and I pulled the trigger, and I blew this big carpet python's head all over my back lawn, and it turns out it was someone's pet.
So what's he actually suing for? That's what I don't understand.
He's suing for damages to the pet.
To the pet?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
And he wants to be compensated because, apparently...
he wants you to buy him a new python.
No, well, those carpet pythons, they grow, to be quite big. But when they're big, they're old. They're kind of like a kangaroo, Like, if you shoot a big kangaroo that's your size, it's probably the same age as you.
Yeah, right. So you took down a real puffer bear python.
Yeah, it was essentially like putting a 28-year-old man.
Did you shoot at point blank range?
Yep. Well, it was going after my cat, so I had to.
I have to say, for your neighbour, he's very, very imperialist. Very imperialist attitude towards owning pets, mate. That's not your property. That's your housemate.
If we were living in Florida, where they've got those stand your ground laws, when he jumped over my back fence, he was lucky that he didn't get a chest plate full of lead. I tell you what.
Yeah, he is.
He escaped that one. Now, look, we are behind you all the way, Errol. Be hoping you get a good result in court there, but we should probably get into the news wrap, and we'll start off with a international story. And China is apparently panicking after learning that they've only got 25 years until Australia gets 8 new submarines.
Yes, the global superpower that is China is rattled to its core this week after our Prime Minister announced a small fleet of extremely expensive new submarines for the nation. They will not actually have nuclear weapons, they'll just be nuclear powered. But that announcement has still apparently put the fear of God into 1.4 billion Chinese.
Well, that was very good of you, Clancy, to get through that and not do a Chinese accent. But Beijing are shaking in their boots, apparently. Reports out of the Chinese capital are that Xi Jinping is very worried that his army of 2.8 million soldiers will only have until 2046 to prepare for Australia's fleet of underwater superboats, something that he's very concerned about.
Yeah, look out, we mean business. Now, in some other news that you mightn't have heard because of that big announcement to round out the week, Christian Porter has revealed that the only blind trust he knows about is what old people have for the Liberals.
Yes, the former highest-ranking legal officer in the land has this week pretended to not be across a pretty big legal issue. It emerged that someone or some people have anonymously paid his legal bills, which are estimated to be in the $500,000 to $1 million kind of range.
So it's sort of like your annual salary there, Clancy, but initially...
Except it's paid to me by my dad.
Well, same
I know who's paying it. Yeah, probably the same thing. Probably the same thing.
Yeah. Initially, it was described as a blind trust in the papers. However, the career lawyer and politician came out to clear out the confusion, saying that the only blind trust he knows is boomers voting for his party in every election. He said, and I quote, "The only blind trust I know about is the one that gibbering old fools of Australia have in the Liberal Party. I mean, we've just spent 2 years arguing to open up and put them to the sword, for God's sake."
There you go. More COVID news from the COVID capital of the country, and Gladys Berejiklian has come out to say that there will be no more 11am presses. Enjoy the picnics and go fuck yourselves.
Well, it seems like she fucked herself on this one because she's turned up to everyone this week, I'll tell you what. But they were strong words from the Premier there, Wendell. Berejiklian told the people of her caliphate that her government cannot be fucked doing the 11am press conferences anymore, and that the people who don't like it can just go and get fucked.
Yes, might be something to do with what's about to come out in ICAC and the questions she allegedly, and the questions she won't be able to avoid when it does. But she has since popped up for a few press conferences since, so not exactly sure what's going on there. I think she's just going to taper off until we forget about it, like we've already forgotten about the daily case numbers down there.
Well, you never know. Maybe she might forget that she didn't declare a bottle of wine moving forward, and that might be, the casus belli to move on.
probably the easiest way out for her, I reckon.
Say so, mate.
Some more political news, and go the doggies, yells Cabra Keneally while wearing a Western Bulldogs AFL scarf at Belmore Oval.
These politicians and their attempts to appear relatable. The aspiring member for Fowler, who booted a well-respected community representative from running, has tried to show off her knowledge of the electorate this week.
Yes, Christina Keneally, or as she's now known as Cabra Keneally, has tried to prove that she's not just some career politician, but one of the people of Fowler. Despite living on Sydney's wealthy northern beaches and nowhere near the multicultural southwest enclave she's hoping to represent. However, it didn't go to plan, with Cabra Keneally seemingly getting confused between the Western Bulldogs in the Victorian Football League and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, who are based right next to her electorate in Western Sydney. Easy mistake really, but it was compounded by the fact that no one's been at Belmore for the last few months, given to all the relocation of the NRL. And the fact that they won the Wooden Spoon 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think the other Western Bulldogs are pretty good. Anyway, some more sports news now, and the headline on our final story. Report, how's Quade's citizenship papers coming along, Scotty?
Yes, a rugby union story, which we haven't had in the bulletin for a while. I don't think, anyway. It came about after the return of Quade Cooper to the Wallabies last weekend, who slotted a 45-metre penalty goal after the siren to beat the world champion Springboks, the South Africans. The incredible kick once again reminded the nation that Scotty, Peter and Co still haven't sorted out Quade a passport.
But apparently they're getting used to it, because the piece of poached chicken breast that poses as the Immigration Minister, Alex Hawke, deciding to grant QC his citizenship, and it's now politically opportune to do so. So I reckon that's why it's gotten a bit of a kick up the arse, mind the pun. Despite previously being unable to give the man a passport, they've somehow found a way to change the rules to get it done. Obviously, they won't be changing anything for the Billawheeler family. That probably goes without saying with this government.
Yeah, it's just a shame the Billawheeler family need to be involved in, I guess, some sort of fading Australian pastime that all of the political class watch keenly, like rugby union.
Yeah, Scotty's favourite game, in case you didn't already know.
Eastern suburbs, Scotty. Anyway, that's all we got time for today. Thanks for coming. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Hooroo!